Hey, what's up, you guys? So I'm with my friend Chris, and we're going to basically be bringing you both of our top 5 favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks of all time. These can be the decks at their prime or their decks right now, and like any deck throughout history, so not just like Necroz, Burning Abyss, shit all format. So we will alternate, I guess, and yeah. You wanna go first?
So how are we gonna do this? It's gonna be like...
Yeah, I'll just go with my number 5, your number 5.
Okay. Coming in at number 5 for me will probably have to be KMP. No, I take it back. Karakuri KMPP. Karakuri Machine of Plant Psychic. I think we had 2 Lone Fire.
Yeah.
2 Lone Fire. So you draw Lone Fire. Lone Fire, drop fucking Machine of Fortress, summon Lone Fire, pitch it for a glow up ball, go into level 8, and it was just broken. You can pretty much put Beast Barkion on board with a Stardust, or you could just like, I don't know, it really made for some nutty combos. I only played for like 2 weeks, but I built it, and I was happy about it.
My number 5 is Blackwings. Blackwings are cool. I always liked, well, actually when they first came out, I actually did not like them because I thought they were broken and I couldn't beat them, and so I was mad. But then over time, I was like, you know, this deck's actually really fun because I like plussing and like kind of playing for like advantage and things like that. So at the time, things like Icarus Attack and like Black Whirlwind searches, that was awesome. Like I like that, the idea of like, you know, activating Whirlwind, summoning Shura, searching like Blizzard, and setting Icarus, and then like if I swing over their monster, I plus, and if I don't, I'll Icarus their stuff, and then next turn I have Blizzard, like, you know, and just plus back, and it was like a lot of fun. And you could make synchros, and even though their synchros suck today, at the time, Blackwing Armor Master and like Stardust and stuff like that, that was a big deal.
But my number 4 is Firefish, and I like Firefish strictly because Firefish actually made me put down Marbella, and I looked at it strictly off of its consistency. Mm-hmm. Like when Firefish first came out, Tinky was a common, right? Tinky was a common.
Tinky was common.
And like you were just like, oh, okay, Tinky, Bear, pop your monster, attack, get another Tinky or a Tensu. Like the deck was just very consistent. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people were like, why you put out Marbella? So I was like, it's consistent. Like I think I was one of the first people actually at our locals to actually play that deck, mm-hmm. and like I was winning with it, like playing it. And then after a while, other people started to pick it up, and like that's when I stopped playing it, which is because like for one, I found something new, and I don't know, it was a fun deck, and like I said, it could have easily been my number 3 or my number 2, like just based off consistency, it was one of the most consistent decks at the time.
My number 4 is Spellbooks. I know some people hate this deck because, like, you know, it just sits there and like searches and shuffles and searches and shuffles. But it's actually really fun. Like, I feel like playing Spellbooks is sort of like walking a tightrope, mm-hmm. because even though the deck is annoying, it's really fragile. So like, if you mess anything up, if you forget the order of something, if your loop somehow gets cut, you usually lose. The deck has very little defense, but I kind of like playing that style because when you play it right, you can get so much advantage. You can plus so much. Like a lot of their cards are +1s, and then like Tower and Blue Boy, and like it just keeps coming back, and you recycle Fates and everything. So I really enjoy it. And then the best part is when you drop those Priestesses and you've got like the whole thing set up where it's just like the Tower pluses, the Wisdoms to protect it, you know, the power to power it up, like Star Hall or something. It's like 4K. I love Spellbooks. I think it's great. I hope that like maybe one day Fate comes to 2 or Judgment gets unbanned. But
I don't know. Like Spellbooks never just really fit my playstyle. I tried to play it like after Fate. Actually, I didn't really play when they had Fate. I was trying to play E-Dragons at that time, but like I didn't really play Spellbooks.
I mean, it's a weird deck. I don't think it's
when it was in its prime
for everyone.
Yeah.
And its prime was kind of like brain dead, but
I mean, its prime was brain dead, and it also only lasted for like a month.
Yeah.
So, but
it was only made to like strictly to be like a foil to dragons.
Yeah.
It wasn't even its own deck, I think.
So like I don't know, my number 3 is a tie, so I'm kind of gonna have like 6 decks in this list.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know if you mind if I talk about it or not, but like I don't know. My number 3 is kind of a tie between Plant Synchro and Y-Dubs.
I didn't know you liked playing Synchro.
Playing Synchro was that hot shit.
Yeah, it was
and
pretty
then
fun.
like playing Synchro was so innovative because it was just like it was engine like it was one of the first things that basically said I'm gonna play this engine with this engine with this engine and
Yeah, like a bunch of good cards.
yeah,
just
and like
combo
we're
together.
gonna combo off and make big monsters and beat you basically, and in the same like it kind of played like wind-ups a lot, and which is why like
Windups were creative.
yeah, like wind-ups, like playing Synchro and wind-ups, they both were like two big toolbox decks. You basically can go into whatever you need to go into to get over whatever I need to get over, and that's why those two decks, like in my opinion, they tie. Like, and then but like I would give wind-ups an edge though because wind-ups stuck around, like I just said,
Yeah.
throughout the ban list. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
Konami
throughout
kind
the
of
years.
sliced playing Synchro up, but they didn't. Windups have always stayed good.
Wind-ups have stayed, and you can still pick up a wind-up deck today and still do decent.
My
a
favorite
local.
thing about windups is that like you can do like the optimal plays that are just like they get you the most advantage and the
Yeah.
most damage, but like you can also like screw around and just do whatever else you want.
Exactly.
Like you can mess around with like Levier and an Invoker and like
It's like
all this dumb stuff and actually still win.
it's like the deck. I mean, it's an archetype based on wind-up toys. Like you really just sit there and play.
Yeah, you really.
You
yeah,
can really just
it's
like
kinda
it's
funny
really
how
just
it
like
is.
toys. You can sit there and just play, and in my opinion, that's one of the reasons. I mean, like I said, it's Tower playing Synchro, but I would give wind-ups an edge
Edge.
just because of that.
Yeah.
Playing Synchro was just so toolbox. It was innovative. Like when. Like who's the first person to play that well that we know of
I don't
to
know.
win with it?
Tyler Tapman won
Yeah.
that with it.
Yeah.
When people thought it was bad, so.
Yeah.
So windups.
Yeah.
Let's see. My number 3 is Gladiator Beasts. This is just kind of more based on the fact that Gladiator Beasts let me like be creative with my spell and trap lineup.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing about Glads. Was like it was a good control deck, and at the time it was actually really tough for people to beat. And things
Yeah.
like Trap Stun and Cold Wave and Gazaras,
That was after
But-
I came back.
But the fun part about Glads for me was that like I could put whatever spells and traps I wanted in it. Like this build could run Book of Moon, or this build could run like enemy controllers, or this build could run Dark Bribe, stuff like that, and it was fine. Like no matter what spells or traps you ran, the deck still worked out really well, and it just you kind of could like customize your combos a little bit.
Gladiator Beast is a deck that like if somebody was getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, I would recommend them to try to play that deck.
Yeah, it's a pretty
And
good
like I mean
beginner.
because like it teaches you control.
Yeah.
So my number 2, I don't know. Like I said, this deck could have. Like, I'm gonna say it once again. This could have been anywhere in my top 5 actually, but Mermail. Mermail when it came out was one of the most.
It was crazy.
It was one of the most. I say broken a lot. It was one of the most broken but well put together archetypes ever created.
It really took.
Ever created.
It really took like the whole searching
Yeah.
and like power plays and combos and just made it into like this one really fast, strong deck.
Yeah.
I
And
loved it.
Yeah,
actually.
and like once again, like in my opinion, that was one of the decks that was just like it changed the way we play Yu-Gi-Oh.
It
like-
really like put the speed back in.
Yeah. Especially like now because now we got decks like BA
Where it's
that,
just
like
just
BA
gauntlet
are
bosses.
basically modeled a lot like Mermail.
I feel like Shadal's and BA.
Yeah, should all that
Even
yeah.
the Cross a little bit.
Like a lot of those decks are modeled kind of just like Mermail because like
Yeah, just
Mermail
super
basically
consistent.
said, okay, I have my hand, like I have my hand, and I can do shit without actually playing
The whole my
anything.
hand
Yeah,
is my
like
deck is my
yeah,
grave deck.
like I said, I put out Mermail to play Firefish, like because of the consistency factor. But then like when they released Firefish, Mermail got new cards and it changed the deck even more and it made the deck even better.
My next deck is Big City. Some of you newer players might not even know what that means. Big City was actually an older hero deck. This is like preceding the whole light hero beat thing and the whole mass hero stuff. This was actually just Stratos with things like Wild Heart, things like Ocean, things like Heat.
Yeah.
Like just weak heroes that had good effects. It was just a stun deck.
Yeah.
And basically, like, Wildheart wasn't affected by traps. It's like you'd summon it and they go bottomless, and you go, okay, nothing happens. And like Ocean would like recycle your heroes back to your hand.
For real.
Which is a big deal when you're recycling Stratos, I'll have you know. Like, that was a big thing. And then the city part actually came from the field spell Skyscraper 2 Hero City, which basically could bring back any of your heroes that was destroyed by battle once per turn. And so it was actually a really good little stun deck, like that had little monsters that did stuff, and it worked out. And unfortunately, it kind of later became just the whole generic light hero beat deck.
Like that deck changed several times.
But that was my favorite way to play.
It went big city, little city.
There was even a middle city.
Middle city,
like wasn't even like heroes.
Yeah. My number one deck is Inzectors, and you probably on this channel you probably seen me play this deck.
We've had a few.
Do like 3 profiles with this deck. This is one of my favorite decks strictly because. At the time, it was one of my favorite. It was one of the best times to play Yu-Gi-Oh, in my opinion. At that time, it was broken.
It was so.
Yu-Gi-Oh was so broken. You had 3 good decks in the game. You had 3 good decks in the game, and then you had this deck that came out of nowhere that was called E-Dragons. Not E-Dragons.
Chaos
Dragons. Chaos Dragons came out of nowhere.
That format was the most.
Came out of nowhere.
It was 2012, and it was so funny because like no matter how the game started, it was so unfair.
Exactly.
Like,
Inzectors basically have 3 Centipede, which you can search out any card in your deck. 3 Hornet that can pop any card on the field, and 3 Dragonfly that brings out another. That basically says I can blow up 2 cards a turn.
What was it? It was them. Windups took your hand away.
It was
Rescue Rabbit went into lag against at 5. But here's
you had the 3 best decks in the game.
Remember, Rabbit didn't even touch the field because this one we had priority. Yeah.
It was logging your set 4, and then you had windups basically took away your whole hand, and then Inzectors just sit there and they can blow up anything you put on board. And then you had people who actually played a hybrid that played all 3 of those decks together.
It was funny. Yeah, it was just a mess.
You played all 3 of those decks together, and they can pretty much handle anything you put on the field.
It was a good time.
I don't care what anybody has to say. That format was broken.
So my number 1 is X-Sabers, and I didn't like them in their prime very much because I just got annoyed. There was like a really good player in our locals who would always bop me with them. But eventually I really learned that Sabers are fun. It is a fun deck, but the funniest part about Sabers to me is that all their cards honestly suck. Like Casual doesn't do anything useful. Like they all have like random effects. Like Pastoral and Full Helm Knight and like Airbellum, they all just have these random bad effects. And the only thing that really brings it together is just the fact that like Dark Soul and Ember's Blade and like that stuff exists. But when you play it and you win, it's so satisfying. Cause like you're using literally awful cards that sort of work together.
On their own, they're awful.
But then when you put it together, it's just like, wow, this thing has a hand loop. It can literally put out any level synchro anytime, and like it's just fun.
Like X-Sabers had everything it took to be bad at Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, they had a lot of bad.
It hit all the cards that were just like.
You got exposed. If you were like a bad player using Sabers, you wouldn't make it. It was a good time.
X-Sabers was a very interesting deck.
It's one of the weirdest decks to like.
It's very interesting. Cause like, sometimes it makes you play the waiting game too, because you have to sit there and be like, okay.
Sit there and deal with like the Ember's Blades, and like you wouldn't want to attack them.
Yeah, like
That's great.
You set a card. I'm not gonna attack your Ember's Blade, so you can go special summon something.
And then like you're gonna give them too much time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not gonna let your Dark Soul hit the graveyard so you can sit there and get a card on your end phase and then beat me next turn. No, but then when you're not attacking them, guess what they're doing? They're sitting out building up field.
Setting up, and then you start. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So Sabers are my number 1, and that's our list.
You got any runner-ups? Mystic Swordsman. Mystic Swordsman. I'm telling you, I'm gonna build that deck and I'm gonna do a profile. And I'm gonna let you guys
only if this video gets 200 thumbs ups will he do that. So
I'm gonna build it regardless. Just do you guys want to see it?
So those are our top 5 each, 10 favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks of all time. We'd like to know what yours are. Leave them in the comments. We will read and maybe we'll respond, and it'll be great. Also, if you want to see Chris in more videos, let us know in the comments if this was exciting and fun. It'd be cool. And that's going to basically conclude the video. So, Remember, subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh! And we'll catch you guys later. Peace.